You think Travis Kelce is done? Think again. He just bought himself a whole new chapter. Right out of the gate, Travis Kelce is not only angling for more ring chasing, he's buying theme parks. Kelce joined Jana Partners and other investors to acquire roughly a 9% stake in Six Flags, part of an activist push to reshape the struggling chain and its guest experience. This isn't a cameo investment. It's a public headline-making stake with real teeth behind it. Reuters, what that means, in plain terms, is twofold. On the field, Kelce is still producing and helping the Chiefs stay relevant. Off the field, he's already planting the seeds of a second act: brand deals, restaurants, media, and now an ownership piece in a national amusement park operator. If you're watching his career like a movie, the plot just pivoted from farewell tour to parallel lives, athlete and builder. ESPN.com. Let's talk numbers and timelines so you know exactly what's real. Through 7 games this season, Kelce has 31 catches for 375 yards and 2 touchdowns. Solid, not vintage Kelce, but absolutely relevant for a 36-year-old tight end still running crisp routes and making contested grabs. ESPN.com, his current contract is a 2-year deal that runs through the end of this season. The Chiefs paid him $34.25 million across that pact, so the "is he retiring" question is legitimate, but not yet answered. ESPN.com, now the twist. The Six Flags play is big. Reports indicate the investor group, which includes Jana Partners and Kelce, among others, has put in about $200 million to buy roughly 9% of the company, and the move comes with a clear activist mandate: push for changes in marketing, guest experience, and board-level strategy to revive attendance and shareholder value. This is not buy a fun toy. It's a strategic stake intended to change outcomes. The Wall Street Journal fan, French fan. So why should football fans care? Because this changes the script for Kelce's legacy. He's always been media savvy, podcast, restaurant endorsements, but this is an ownership move that can outlast any single season. If Kelce helps reshape Six Flags, better guest marketing, cooler activations, cross-promotions with his brands, his footprint becomes cultural and financial in a way that goes beyond game day highlights. It's the difference between being remembered as a great player and remembered as a builder. People.com back on the field. This Monday night is a concrete moment. Chiefs versus Commanders, primetime at Arrowhead. Kelce will headline the offense's weapons set in what could be a career-defining stretch if this really is his last season. The Chiefs are 4-3. The Commanders are 3-4. It's not a moral victory. It's a measuring stick. Expect Kelce to play the heavy lift role: seam threats, third down safety valve, short yardage, chain mover, the exact things that aged tight ends can still dominate if they keep their feet and their hands. Commanders.com. Emotionally, this is delicious TV. Picture the scene: Kelce nailing a 2-minute drive at Arrowhead, then 2 days later flying to a board meeting or press event to talk about guest experience at Cedar Point or Six Flags Great Adventure. It's the athlete as entrepreneur narrative to the max. Fans get emotional highs on Sundays, investors get quarterly earnings cycles. He's bridging both worlds. People.com. But there are real risks that make this fascinating, not merely flattering. Big cosmetic turns at an amusement park operator require capital, operational reset, and time. Six Flags has had a rough stretch. Attendance and financials have been challenged, and activist moves can be disruptive short-term. If Kelce's name becomes shorthand for distraction, critics will sniff that he's spreading himself too thin. If the parks rebound, he'll be hailed as a savvy brand architect. High risk, high reward. AP News, let's be blunt about Kelce's football window. He's 36. Tight ends typically decline later than skill receivers because route running and blocking instincts age better than sheer speed. Kelce's route IQ, body control, and hands are his currency. If he wants to play beyond 2025, he'd almost certainly have to show consistent durability and production, and every snap he plays now is an audition for more than one legacy: great player and successful post-NFL entrepreneur. The Six Flags stake buys him credibility if he chooses to step away. It also gives him leverage if he wants to keep playing while building a portfolio. ESPN.com. Let's get tactical for a second. How the Chiefs will use him in the short run. Expect fewer deep Apollo targets and more elevating of the pocket chances. Seams, flats, crossing patterns that slice zones. Mahomes will use Kelce to punish linebackers cheating up, or to create space for speedsters like Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy. Kelce's blocking will still matter on inside runs. They'll protect him and move him into mismatch spots. If his snap count is managed well, he can remain a high-impact player through the postseason. NFL.com, and because you asked for texture, here's the human detail. Kelce has talked about amusement parks all his life. He's spoken publicly about Cedar Point and the memories of riding coasters as a kid. That authenticity matters. When a celebrity invests in something they genuinely love, the messaging lands better than a purely financial play. Kelce's personal connection gives him credibility with fans and parkgoers. It also makes his activist partner's pitch easier to sell. People.com. Now, the downside scenarios to watch. Injuries, obvious, a dramatic dip in production, or the possibility that off-field responsibilities start to dent practice focus. None of those are guaranteed. Many players thrive with second act plans, but they're the real variables. The questions teams ask when a star player makes a major business move are simple. Will he be present, available, and locked in when it matters? If the answer is yes, this is a net positive. If the answer wobbles, the narrative flips fast. TheConSpotRack.com. So what should you watch this week? 4 practical checks. 1. Kelce's snap count and usage early in the game. Are they saving him for the fourth quarter? 2. His target share on third downs and in the red zone. That tells you if Mahomes trusts him for finishing drives. 3. Post-game media. Any mention of Six Flags activity timed around the game means he's juggling both worlds. 4. Earnings or investor news flow on Six Flags. If the activist group announces board candidates or strategy shifts, this becomes more than a human interest story. It's a business headline. Reuters finish on this. Athletes used to quietly close the curtain and become businessmen. Kelce's move is louder and smarter. He's building the curtain while he's still on stage. Whether this becomes a post-career footnote or the opening chapter of a new brand empire depends on 2 things. A, how much gas he has left in the tank on the gridiron, and B, whether the Six Flags play actually improves the parks and shareholder value. If both boxes check, we'll be watching very modern sporting life, one where Sundays feed Mondays and both generate headlines. One last image before we cut. Travis Kelce hits the end zone at Arrowhead, then straps into a roller coaster at Cedar Point next spring. Same grin, different kind of thrill. That's a future you can almost hear the crowd cheering for. Travis Kelce just turned kid who loved roller coasters into shareholder energy. And honestly, it fits him. He's joined an investor group led by activist firm Jana Partners that bought roughly a 9% stake in Six Flags, with Kelce attached as a visible, passionate face of the move. PR Newswire. This isn't a casual celebrity cameo. The group explicitly plans to push for changes. Better marketing, sharper guest experiences, board upgrades, and Kelce is right in the spotlight as the consumer voice. Markets noticed immediately. The stock jumped on the news, signaling investors saw potential in a strategy that pairs activist muscle with celebrity reach. Berenzer, if you know Kelce, none of this is random theater. He's talked about Cedar Point and Six Flags for years on podcasts and in interviews. Those parks were part of his childhood soundtrack. On the announcement, he was equal parts proud fan and practical partner. Excited to preserve the memory making, but also aware that the parks need modern fixes to compete in a crowded entertainment landscape. People.com. Footnote for the he can do both skeptics. Kelce isn't just buying nostalgia. He's building a playbook for life after football. He's already dipped toes into acting, hospitality, that restaurant with Mahomes, and philanthropy. Investing in a national entertainment brand checks boxes for legacy, revenue, and authentic branding all at once. The man who sells out arenas can also help sell season passes, and he's the kind of celebrity who turns a park visit into content that millions will watch. People.com. On the field, he's still doing his thing too. Through 7 games, Kelce has 31 catches for 375 yards and 2 touchdowns this season, numbers that underline he's still a reliable matchup for Patrick Mahomes, even if he's smoothing into this possibly final chapter of his playing career. ESPN.com, there are a few smart reasons this deal lands the way it does. 1, authenticity wins. Kelce's fandom is genuine. That's not manufactured marketing. Fans smell that. When a star ties their name to a product they genuinely enjoy, it pays off in goodwill and engagement. 2, Activist firepower plus a cultural megaphone is potent. Jana brings the shareholder strategy, Kelce brings the eyeballs. That combo can pressure management while giving the turnaround a PR lift that a quarterly slide deck alone can't buy. Number 3, transition planning. Athletes who plan their next act while they still have maximum relevance win the long game. Kelce's timing, possibly near the end of a storied NFL run, is textbook. Build the next chapter while your brand is loudest. Real talk, Six Flags isn't Disneyland. The company's had tough quarters, weather issues, and integration pains since merging operations, and turning around attendance and margins is hard operational work. Kelce's name creates momentum, and momentum can accelerate a turnaround, but the heavy lifting will be operational. Pricing, promotions, maintenance, and guest experience execution. Wakeu.org. For Chiefs fans wondering what this means on Monday night, nothing immediate. Kelce is playing, contributing, and planning to keep being good at both. He'll be at Arrowhead